What is going on, you guys? My name is Nick, and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing something that I've been seeing a lot of other film tubers doing recently, and that is giving my personal picks for the 2023 Oscar winners. And yeah, you heard that right. I'm going to be going through every single category, or at least the main 20 categories, and giving my personal opinion on who I would give the award to for that particular category. Like I said, we do have 20 categories to get to, so why are we wasting any time here? Let's jump right into it. We're going to start off here with costume design, and I believe for this one, I predicted that Black Panther Wakanda Forever would win, but personally, as much as I didn't like the movie itself, the costume design in Elvis was absolutely phenomenal, and if I was voting for this particular category, I'd cast my vote for Elvis, man. It was really, really good costume design. For makeup and hairstyling, I believe I said The Whale, mainly because of the fat suit, of course, but the Batman had phenomenal makeup and hairstyling, especially Colin Farrell's The Penguin. I mean, that alone, I think, deserves the win, but honestly, if not the Batman, then I kind of would like to give it to Elvis, especially once we do start getting into the later parts of his life in the film. The makeup gets even better as it goes on. So between the Batman, Elvis, and The Whale, the Batman is my personal pick, but either one of those three, I think you could make a decent argument for. Production design, I think, just like the Oscars, this is going to go to Babylon, and I would give it to Babylon as well. The production design in that movie is top-notch, just the way they completely recreated the early 20s, and just the progression of that time period in general through the early 50s, I believe. It's just, it's transformative. It's kind of like what Tarantino did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He completely recreated that era, and it just looked so real and lived in. This goes to Babylon. For documentary feature, I would have said All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, but after watching Fire of Love again, now that it's officially out on Disney Plus, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it there. This is just, it's too heartbreaking and too much of a good love story for me to not put this on here. I don't know, it's inspiring, but it's also kind of odd to say that it's inspiring considering how they do end up passing away by the end of the documentary. But I think what their love represented is what's inspiring to me and what's so beautiful about the whole thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is a beautifully directed documentary film, and I haven't seen any of the others besides All That Breathes, and that has its audience as well. But Fire of Love is just a documentary that I think a lot of people need to see nowadays. It's pretty much about the purity of love. International feature, I will never understand why Decision to Leave is not on this list, but if it was, that would be my personal pick. But because it's not, and because I'm not going to choose All Quiet on the Western Front, no offense to all my Western Front fans out there, I love that movie, it's very good, but Close from Belgium, probably my favorite international feature besides Decision to Leave. If I could have confidently predicted Close in my Oscar prediction video, I would have, but as of right now, All Quiet's the front runner, so I have to be kind of consistent with everybody else with that. But Close is such a heartbreaking story of two young boys in middle school, I believe, and their sudden end of that friendship because of a rumor that starts to go around their school. It's very emotional. If you haven't seen it, I believe it releases on Mubi mid-March, so keep an eye out for that because, man, it's not getting enough attention. I mean, the fact that it has the nomination is perfectly fine for me, but nobody's even talking about it as if it could win, which just sucks. I mean, good for All Quiet, but there's amazing films on this list as well. Argentina, 1985. For animated feature, I'm going to stay in the line with the Oscars. I do think Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio deserves this one. If not this, then maybe Marcel the Shell, just because I wasn't a big fan of stop-motion animation, mainly because Coraline scared the shit out of me as a kid. But the past few years, we've been getting a lot of really good ones. I remember seeing Kubo and the Two Strings. That was a really, really good stop-motion animated film, and I believe did it win that year for Best Animated Feature? I could be wrong. But yes, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio or Marcel the Shell are perfectly good choices. I haven't seen The Sea Beast. Turning Red is good, but I don't think it quite deserves it, and the same with Puss in Boots. For visual effects, I mean, is it really a surprise? I'm going to go with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. In the sound category, I'm also going to stick with what the Oscars are hopefully going to choose on ceremony evening, and that's Top Gun Maverick. The sound to that movie just kind of makes the entire experience what it is. Yes, it is a visual treat, but the big draw to it is feeling like you're in the jet with them, mainly through the sound that's in the back of your Dolby Cinema seats, man. They just rock your world. They make you feel like you're right then and there. I really don't think the sound in Avatar is anything special. Elvis is okay. All Quiet is pretty good. I wish I could have seen it in a theater. I saw it my couch on Netflix, unfortunately. And the Batman has really good moments like that car chase sequence. It's really good, but Top Gun has very consistent sound throughout the film that just deserves the nomination and the award here. Original song, the only one that RRR is unfortunately going to get tonight, and that's not to. I completely agree with everyone else with this one. I do think it deserves this. If not this song, then maybe This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Original score, you guys know how much I love Babylon. Justin Hurwitz is taking this, no doubt. If I had to choose anyone else, maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not a big fan of all of the other scores here. I mean, where's Woman Talking at, for one? That is the one that just really surprised me. It didn't get in here. Like, no offense to Banshees of Inisherin, you know, I wasn't that connected to the score of that film as I was for Woman Talking. Now, granted, Woman Talking does have a lot of, like, variations that they kind of sequence over and over again throughout the score, so maybe it is a little repetitive to the voting committee, and that's why they didn't go for it. Film editing, I believe we said Top Gun Maverick, right, for the nomination prediction, or not nomination, for the award prediction, but I'm going to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once for my personal pick, especially because of that last act of the film. The editing is really in center stage during that entire sequence. If the editing misses at all, the clarity of what the Daniels were trying to convey there will just go down the toilet immediately, no matter how good your screenplay is. If the editing does not convey what you're trying to express on the page well, it's not going to work at all. Cinematography, we just have such very unfortunate nominees. Like, where is Nope at in this list? Like, where is it? I guess I would give it to Bardo just because I do think that does have the best cinematography out of everything on this list, but I don't think Bardo deserves it because everything else in the movie is ass. I mean, your movie can look great, but if the story's terrible, then what's the point of even watching it? So I'm going to give it to All Quiet on the Western Front. Actor in a supporting role, I do really want to see Key take this one home. He deserves it so much, but if I could give it to anyone else, probably Brian Tyree Henry. He really takes what is, at the end of the day, a pretty mediocre film in Causeway, and he elevates it with his supporting performance. He's not even the freaking lead, man, and he just makes it so watchable. Supporting actress, I believe everyone is going with Angela Bassett here with this one. No offense to Jamie Lee Curtis, but I don't know why you're here. Yeah, you're important in the movie. You represent a very important symbol to Evelyn and her character, but really a supporting actress nomination for this one? I mean, and I'm okay with Carrie Condon being here, but I don't think she has the better performance compared to our other three here, Hong Chow, Bassett, and Stephanie. Between these four powerhouse actresses, I mean, all of them are phenomenal. I do think Hong Chow had the most emotionally effective is what I mean, performance. She's kind of the audience character pretty much in The Whale, and she conveys those emotions so well, especially to Brendan Fraser, so he can play off of those emotions, and that's why he's going to win this actor nomination this year. It's not just because he put on a good performance, but it's because he's feeding off of the amazing performers around him. I mean, I guarantee you guys, if Hong Chow wasn't nearly as strong as she was in this film, I don't think we'd be talking about Brendan Fraser as much as we are, or even The Whale in general for that much. Her empathetic performance towards Brendan Fraser's character in The Whale is what really kind of brings out the emotion in the film. She's watching her best friend essentially kill himself, and it's powerful to watch. And I love Angela Bassett. I said it in my nomination prediction video, in award prediction video. She is the queen. I love her. But Hong Chow, she really deserves this one. Adapted screenplay is going to Woman Talking. I completely agree with the Oscars on this one, and I do think they're going to go for this one. If they go for Glass Onion, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just set myself on fire, because then there's no hope for any good writing ever. That movie... It just irritates me that people think it's brilliant that he tells you who the murderer is in the middle of the movie, and the rest of it we're just watching the flashbacks of it all play out, and people think that's just brilliant in reinventing the murder mystery genre. It's not. It's a guy that wrote himself into a corner, and instead of writing a good story, he just wrote the backstory of what we were supposed to see originally. It's not good. It's boring. But I will say, on the bright side, at least in Glass Onion, the actors are charismatic as hell, and Rian Johnson does know how to write really good and witty dialogue, and he does write very good sequences. It's just, he really, I think, dropped the ball with this one. The first Knives Out was so good. It kept you on your toes the entire time, even if the reveal was one of the most popular movie stars at that particular period of time with Chris Evans. But man, Glass Onion, man, like, we're like 50 minutes into the movie and we already know who did it. Like, what's the point of finishing it? Original screenplay, I chose Everything Everywhere All at Once for my award prediction video, but Personally, Todd Field wrote the best screenplay of the year, in my opinion, with Tar. I mean, it deserves it. And if not that, then Triangle of Sadness by Ruben Östlund. Those are two of the best screenplays of the year. I think both of those are miles beyond Everything Everywhere All at Once. No offense to the film, and I do like Everything Everywhere All at Once more than Tar and Triangle of Sadness. I just think that the layers of writing that is in Tar and Triangle of Sadness, it just speaks levels compared to what Everything Everywhere All at Once is. I think Everything Everywhere has a great overarching message to the whole thing, and it all really ties itself together in this big bundle of just odd weirdness, right? It's a bunch of allegory that works. But Tar and Triangle of Sadness is more of a satire, right? It deconstructs these people and puts them in situations that they just genuinely shouldn't ever be in, and it's hilarious to watch it happen. And then on the flip side of that, Tar is just a very intimate character study of Lydia Tarr. She's not even a real person. This guy just completely created her in his own mind, and he's dissecting this person's psyche. And yeah, she's not the most fun person to root for in a film. No, not at all. I'm not saying that, but she's goddamn compelling to watch on screen. And that all comes from Todd Field's writing and his direction between him and Cate Blanchett. And that leads us right into the leading actress award, and that is going to go not to Michelle Yeoh, but to Cate Blanchett. Yes, I know I've been singing Michelle Yeoh's name ever since I saw the film back in March of last year, but at the end of the day, in all honesty, guys, I gotta be real with you. If I was on the acting board or branch and I was voting for this award, I'd have to give it to Cate Blanchett. She gave the best performance of the year, and if not her, then maybe Andrea Riseborough. I mean, she killed it in To Leslie. As weird as it was to see her slot into this list, after I did see the film, I do agree. She is probably the second best performer on this list, better than Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh's number 3 right now in my head, and then Ana de Armas, and then Michelle Williams. But Blanchett, she should get this award. She should. But I also want to see Michelle get it because it's Michelle Yeoh. She's amazing. She deserves it. And her performance in Everything Everywhere was satisfactory. It was award nomination worthy. But I do think Blanchett just killed it. Actor in a leading role, I already said this, guys. Come on. Brendan Fraser. If not Brendan, then Austin Butler. Colin Farrell, I love you, man, but this was not your best performance. It was good. It was really good. I don't really understand why everyone is so big on the performances from Banshees of Inisherin. I don't think they were that great. I mean, they were good. They weren't bad by any means at all, but I think Austin Butler should get a little more recognition when it comes to his performance compared to Colin Farrell. I think he should be number 2 and not Colin, like what everyone else is kind of thinking right now. And as much as I love Aftersun, I can't confidently say that I would give it to Paul Mescal. I think this is one of his more tame roles. I think he's better in God's Creatures for sure, but his role in Aftersun is so essential and so emotional. He does so little but so much at the same time. But I know that he's going to be on this list again someday in the future, and hopefully by then it is a much stronger, more I don't want to say Oscar baity, but more of a Brendan Fraser, Austin Butler type of a role where he has a lot more to do, so we can praise him a whole lot more. Directing, of course, I think the Daniels deserve this one. They directed the hell out of Everything Everywhere All at Once. The way they managed to turn that entire office building into pretty much the set for the entire movie is insane. The low production that they had on this movie going against them for one with what they were trying to do is just so ambitious, and the fact that they pulled it off, and so many people, not even just people in the critic circle, but the modern audience loves this film as well. I think the Daniels have this one in the bag. But if not the Daniels, then Ruben Östlund, because again, both of these films are big ensemble pieces, like The Fabelmans as well, and The Banshees of Inisherin. Tar is more of a, like I said, concentrated character piece. A big part of what makes a good director is how he can communicate with his actors and how he can get them to perform on screen, or she, whatever the director may be. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Daniels completely killed it this year when it comes to that, but I think in tight number 2 is Ruben Östlund, and in tight number 3 is The Fabelmans. Alright, best picture here. You guys already know what I'm going to give it to. I've been singing the song of it, like I said, since March. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once, but if I could give it to anything else on this list, anything else, it would be The Fabelmans. Wait, no, hear me out, okay? Yes, I love Steven Spielberg films. I am a little bit biased, but what this movie means not only to Steven, but to just the filmmaking community in general is incomprehensible. And I know that future up-and-coming filmmakers are going to watch this movie and they are going to relate to it on a deeper level than they probably ever could with any other movie. And it's very important to the space of film creation. But on the opposite side of that, you could make the same argument for Everything Everywhere All at Once, that it executes everything that we think film is important for, and it displays at the best, so it should win Best Picture. But The Fabelmans is more of a examination on why it's effective to us and why we love it and why we want to pursue it in general. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Fabelmans win or a Banshees of Inisherin. I really like the Banshees of Inisherin, but I don't see it as a Best Picture winner in my eyes. Who knows? Maybe Elvis will win Best Picture, and then all of us will be scratching our heads at the end of the day. But those are my personal picks if I were going to choose the winners for the 2023 Oscar ceremony. What do you guys want to win, or what would you guys choose if you were able to pick the winners? I think this is a very interesting video idea to make, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope I made it a little bit interesting for you guys, because honestly, I feel like a lot of the choices that I have are in line with what I think the Academy is going to go for, besides a few minor ones. That's pretty much it for me today, you guys. What would you guys, once again, what would you guys choose to win? Specifically Best Picture. If it was up to you, who would you choose for Best Picture? And I swear, if you say Avatar: The Way of Water, we're going to have some problems. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, take care, peace.